We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and this story hitting the news wire, O.J. Simpson has passed away. This comes to us from ESPN. O.J. Simpson dies of cancer, age 76, family says. O.J. Simpson, the decorated football superstar and Hollywood actor who was acquitted of charges he killed his former wife and her friend, but later was found liable in a separate civil trial, has died. He was 76. The family announced on Simpson's official X account that Simpson died Wednesday after battling prostate cancer. He died in Las Vegas, officials there said Thursday. Quote, on April 10th, our father, Ortho Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asked that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. The family posted on Simpson's X account. And the article continues, Simpson earned fame, fortune, and adulation through football and show business, but his legacy was forever changed by the June 1994 knife slayings of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman in Los Angeles. On June 12th, the bodies of Brown, Simpson, and Goldman were found outside her condo in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles. Simpson was a person of interest in the murders, but rather than turn himself in 5 days later, he led police on a low-speed chase throughout Los Angeles as a passenger in a white Ford Bronco driven by former NFL player Al Cowlings. An estimated television audience of 95 million watched the drama unfold, with live coverage interrupting regular programming, including the NBA Finals. And lastly of this article, I also want to mention this part. Simpson gained widespread popularity across society as the Heisman Trophy winning tailback for the University of Southern California in the late 1960s, as a rental car ad pitchman rushing through airports in the late 1970s, and as a commentator for Monday Night Football, and an actor in movies such as the Naked Gun series in the 1980s. The public was mesmerized by his trial of the century on live TV. It featured lead prosecutor Clark against the legal dream team for Simpson led by Johnny Cochran, who famously pleaded to the jury during closing arguments, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. A reference to a glove matching one found at the scene of the murders. His case sparked debates on race, gender, domestic abuse, celebrity justice, and police misconduct. So that is the jumping off point I want to use, is how complicated this story was for a lot of people. This day, this news. I think most sports fans, I think most people who heard this news, who knows who O.J. Simpson is, felt some type of way of shock, some type of moment in time where it just stopped for a second and like, wow, that happened. O.J. Simpson died. And he was diagnosed, or there was the rumors of him being diagnosed with prostate cancer and him even being in hospice. And he goes on his Twitter account, his X account, and says those are all just rumors. And obviously we know how it all ended for O.J. I think the thing we have to keep in mind, there are so many different conversations when you're talking about O.J. Simpson. There's the conversation about the great football player. There's the conversation about the actor. There's the conversation of the impact he has made in our pop culture. There's the impact he has made being accused and tried and acquitted of murdering two people and then being found liable in civil court. Then going to jail for holding people hostage and trying to get his memorabilia back and all the craziness that story was. And the If I Did It book and the music videos and all the weird interviews, all that are conversations that are part of this huge story. But it's also important to bring up the race issue of what it meant in the 90s during the Rodney King stuff, and seeing people of color, brown people, black people, poor white people being mistreated and not getting their fair due in the justice system. These were all facts. These are all things that can live simultaneously, and also acknowledging that two people were horrifically murdered. Yes, I know it's complicated, and I know it's really easy to plant your flag down in one side of an argument, to make things as easy as just one statement. But the fact remains is all these things can be true, where people of color, poor people, are mistreated by the justice system and don't always get the same opportunity people with wealth have. We can also talk about how it is easy to target celebrities, while also saying it's easy for celebrities to buy themselves out of trouble. We can also talk about how O.J. Simpson was acquitted of murder, but all the circumstantial evidence leans one way. You can be excited if you're a person of color, somebody who feels the mistreatment of average citizens of the judicial system, that somebody, quote unquote, got over on them. But that doesn't take away that a family, two families, are heartbroken, have never been the same decades later. The thing that sickened me about this entire conversation, that so many people wanted to make it as simple as bad guy, good guy. You can have your opinion about O.J. Simpson. I do. I don't make it a secret. But I also understand the nuance of this conversation, especially when you're talking to people from different age groups, different demographics. O.J. Simpson means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And I just wanted to make sure that we kind of touched all the bases of that. That there are people that absolutely think he's the devil. There are some people that believe he is the virtual signal of a corrupt justice system that got its just desserts. And then there's everybody in the middle that has their opinions, understands the nuance, and also understands that life's not fair and things just happen. Obviously, we had to talk about this story. One of the greatest football players of all time. One of the biggest athletes to hit the airwaves and cross the genre of sports into pop culture, into celebrity. And even if you look at all the controversies besides the ones that we really talk about, the identity crisis that OJ had to go through, being such a prominent black man in America, having to conform to what he was living through as a major star in the NFL and in Hollywood. And then the way OJ then interacted with the black community post all that success after the trial. There's so much to this story, but it's a complicated person, complicated story. And while I've said it, I think he did it. I don't even feel it's that crazy of a thing to say, right? Like, most people, I think, believe that. But I'm also aware that this conversation, this story, this time in history means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. O.J. Simpson dies of cancer at the age of 76. Let us know your thoughts about this entire story. How old were you during the Bronco chase? How old were you when this trial was going on? Have you watched all the documentaries? Are you just now going down the rabbit hole of O.J. Simpson? Let us know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. Of course, check us out wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We're on all podcast platforms at Sports from the Couch, The Sports Cubicle, and subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Sports Cubicle. We have more coming up next here on The Sports Cubicle. I'm Mike Mercado.